In this demo, we'll make sure our delete action uses the repository instead of the in-memory data store. Let's uncomment that action. And we can already mark it with the async modifier and make sure it returns a task. Alright, let's have a look at what it does. There's no mapping to be done here as we are only deleting a point of interest. We're not sending JSON through in the request body, nor are we sending something back in the response body. So the first thing is, as we're used to by now, to check to see whether the city exists. So we can replace the call into our old city's data store by a call into city exists async. If it doesn't exist, we return a not found. And after that, also as we're used to by now, we try and get the point of interest we want to delete. Let's get rid of that old code here. And there we go. If the point of interest we want to delete doesn't exist, we also return a not found. Just as in the update actions, we don't need a point of interest exists method on the repository, as it's this same point of interest that we need to delete it afterwards. But there's no method on our repository yet to delete a point of interest, so we'll add one. Let's open the repository contract, and let's add one method, delete point of interest. It will accept a point of interest as a parameter. An interesting fact here is that this too isn't an async method. Deleting, just like adding, is an in-memory operation, not an input-output operation. So async does not make sense here. The only reason we have add point of interest for city async is because in that implementation we call into getCityAsync, which is an I/O method. For delete, that's not the case. Mind you, depending on how you design your repository contract, the delete point of interest method can be async. For example, if you call into another method from it that is async. I'm explicitly not doing that here to show you both approaches are possible. Alright, on to the implementation. So we're on our city info repository here. And all we need to do to implement the delete operation is call remove on the points of interest DB set, passing through the point of interest we want to remove. Back to our controller. To remove the point of interest, we call into our repository now. We still want to send that fake mail when someone deletes a point of interest. So let's make sure that it can be sent by passing in the correct name and ID. These are now coming from the point of interest entity instead of from the point of interest from store, which we no longer have. And right before we do that, we of course have to make sure we save the changes. If all works out, we send back a no content. Let's give that a try. Let's try deleting the point of interest with ID 1, accessible through the city with ID 1. So if I'm not mistaken, that's Central Park in New York. Let's send the request. And we get back a 204 no content. So far, so good. Let's try getting this point of interest we just deleted. We get back a 404 not found, so it is indeed gone. And just to check, let's get all the points of interest from New York City. And there we go. We've got the Empire State Building, but we no longer have Central Park. That's the one that was deleted. And with that, we fully integrated our API with Entity Framework Core. Time for this module summary.